I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Far from it. My story starts in Brooklyn, in a housing project. My dad drove a truck, a hard-working man who provided for his family. But one day, everything changed. He broke his leg on the job, and just like that, he was out of work. I can still see him, lying on the couch, the look of hopelessness on his face. He had no workers' compensation, no severance, no health insurance. That image, that feeling of powerlessness, is burned into my memory. It's the single most powerful memory of my childhood, and it became the driving force behind everything I would go on to build. That moment taught me that a company's responsibility goes far beyond the balance sheet. It's about taking care of your people. My name is Howard Schultz, and this isn't just the story of a coffee company. It is the story of how a painful childhood memory inspired a mission to build a different kind of company, one that would never leave its people feeling hopeless on the couch. It was 1981 when I first walked into a small shop in Seattle's Pike Place Market. The sign read Starbucks coffee, tea, and spices. I was a sales rep from New York, and the aroma that hit me was intoxicating. It was this rich, dark, powerful smell of roasted coffee beans. Inside, the store was simple. It only sold whole bean coffee and brewing equipment. No comfy chairs, no music, no lattes, just a passion for great coffee. The founders taught me about regions, roast, and the art of sourcing the best beans on earth. I was completely captivated. I knew, deep in my gut, that I had to be a part of this. A year later, I convinced them to hire me as the director of marketing. I packed up my life in New York and moved across the country for a company with just 4 stores. It was a huge risk, but I believed in the product. What I didn't know yet was that the true magic wasn't just in the beans themselves. A business trip to Milan, Italy, changed everything. I was walking the streets, and I saw these little espresso bars on almost every corner. But they were more than just places to get coffee. They were vibrant hubs of human connection. The baristas knew everyone's name. People were talking, laughing, enjoying a brief moment of community in their day. It was a daily ritual. I had an epiphany. This was it. This was the missing piece. Starbucks was treating coffee like produce, something you buy and take home to prepare. But the Italians had transformed it into a shared experience. They were selling community, not just coffee. I raced back to Seattle, my mind buzzing. I tried to explain this vision to the Starbucks founders. We need to serve coffee by the cup. We need to create an experience. They were purists. They said, Howard, we're not in the beverage business. They just didn't see it. My heart sank, but my conviction didn't waver. I knew this idea had to exist. So, with their blessing, I left Starbucks to start my own espresso bar concept, called Il Giornale, named after the Milanese newspaper. We replicated that Italian experience: the stand-up bars, the opera music, the handcrafted espresso drinks. It was a hit. People loved it. A couple of years later, in a strange twist of fate, the original Starbucks founders decided to sell their company. They wanted to focus solely on roasting. This was my chance. I went to my investors and said, we need to buy Starbucks. They thought I was out of my mind. The asking price was $3.8 million. It was an enormous sum, and I didn't have it. But I was relentless. I pitched to anyone who would listen. I must have spoken to over 140 potential investors, and most of them said no. Who's going to pay $3 for a cup of coffee? They'd ask. They just couldn't see past the price tag. But I wasn't just selling coffee. I was selling an experience. I was selling a feeling. I was selling a third place. That's the term for a place that's not home the first place and not work the second place, but a place where you can connect, relax, and feel a sense of belonging. That was the core of my vision. After countless rejections, I finally secured the funding. We bought Starbucks, merged it with Il Giornale, and began our journey to bring the warmth of Italy to the fast-paced culture of America. We designed our stores to be comfortable, with soft lighting, good music, and that signature aroma. We invested heavily in our people, calling them partners, not employees. We offered them comprehensive health benefits and stock options, even for part-time workers. Why? Because of my father. I was building the company that he never got to work for, a company that valued its people as human beings. The growth was explosive. We went from a handful of stores to hundreds, then thousands, all across the world. We became a cultural phenomenon. But in the midst of that rapid expansion, somewhere along the line, we lost our way. The pursuit of growth began to overshadow the pursuit of our original purpose. The focus shifted from people to profits, from the romance of the experience to the efficiency of the transaction. By the mid-2000s, I had stepped away from the CEO role, but I could see the cracks forming. The soul of the company was fading. Then, in 2008, the global financial crisis hit, and it exposed all our weaknesses. Our sales plummeted. Our stock price collapsed. The company I had poured my life into was on the brink of failure. It was the most painful period of my professional life. I felt personally responsible. I had to come back. In January 2008, I returned as CEO. The task ahead was monumental. We had to fix what was broken, and it started with culture. I held a town hall with our senior leaders, and in a moment of raw emotion, I apologized. I admitted that the mistakes were mine. We had to make incredibly tough decisions. We closed hundreds of underperforming stores, which was heartbreaking. But the most important thing we did was to shut down every single Starbucks store in the United States for an entire afternoon. We used that time to retrain every barista on the art of pulling the perfect espresso shot. It wasn't just about technique. It was a symbolic act. It was a message to our partners and our customers that we were recommitting to our core quality coffee and the human connection. We were going back to our roots. It was a declaration that we were once again going to be in the business of serving people, not just serving coffee. Slowly, painstakingly, we rebuilt. We focused on innovation, but always through the lens of enhancing the customer experience. We reminded ourselves and the world of our mission to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. The turnaround was a success. We emerged stronger, more focused, and more humbled. This journey taught me that leadership isn't about having all the answers or never making mistakes. It's about being accountable. It's about having the humility to admit when you're wrong and the courage to fix it. It's about staying true to your values, even when it's hard. And most of all, it's about remembering that at the heart of any great enterprise, it's not about the product you sell. It's about the people you serve and the feeling you create. It's about staying human, especially when it hurts. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share my story with you. If this resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. See you in the next one.